shit, I didn't put the timer up.
Oh no. Technical error.
I feel like our whole episode's always technical error. What's up, guys? We are back with the podcast from the cave for episode 9. We're going to talk about... We're going to try not to get heated. I'm going to try not to get heated.
You were going to try not to get heated.
I'm going to try. Carl's going to hold me back like he does in everything in my life.
I will have the fire extinguisher on hand.
Yeah. I won't get mad, and he's going to hold me back in both my anger and my lifting career like he always does. And I'll crack cheers to that.
That's right.
And all the things that have torn me apart, nothing has made me more whole, covering the good, the bad, and the shit that keeps us going. Straight from your head ref's table, I'm your host, Travis Papa Bear Rogers, and you are listening to A Forest for the Trees, a cave podcast. Here with my co-host and no longer captain of the shit.
Go ahead.
Not the ship, the shit.
Go ahead.
Because I'm on my 5th comeback. And it's time to take the gym back.
You love a comeback story.
My entire powerlifting career is a nonstop revolution of comeback stories.
Well, go ahead. Talk about your week. You had a pretty big week.
I did have a big week. So Carl, my coach, allowed me to take 353 pounds with one titty to a one board.
Wow.
And it moved pretty good, so I was pretty happy with that. Yeah, I was pretty happy with that. So we're almost out with the very limited one-ply slingshot-ish band.
Right. And
now I'm currently talking to Dave from Invictus. Talked to him again today. I'm measuring the size I need to go from our next jump from around 375 into like the 450, 460 range. And then hopefully making it to some boards once we switch out of that to my 2-ply F8. And we will be back in Unlimited using the rubber inserts in the suit as a false titty tendon.
We love it.
We love it.
We're making strides, dude.
And I had a good squat this week.
You had a great squat. I was hoping you would talk about the squat.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the squat.
What was our top double? 502.
502
on
with
plate
230.
weight with 230 in chains. So I mean, I'm back in the 700s if you're including AR, which is pretty good considering I haven't been on a straight bar or had that kind of weight on my back since like March.
Yeah, straight bar itself was a big win for you.
Yeah, because we didn't even know if I could do that with my pec tendon missing.
Now you had held a Duffalo bar for a couple sets last week.
Yeah, but Duffalo has that. God, I love Duffalo. That sweet like camber-ish, and it kind of wraps a little bit, not too severe, but enough to tuck it in tight. So if you do have an imbalance, you can still kind of hug it a little tighter.
Definitely.
I definitely, I'm a big fan.
So big wins.
Big fan.
Good bench.
It's actually why I wore my Oxblood Kabuki shirt today, just because I love and miss the Duffalo so much, and I hate the straight bar. Because we didn't even use a Kabuki straight bar yesterday, or squat bar yesterday. We used the Rogue. The Rogue all over.
Yeah, we used the Rogue.
Yeah. The cheese grater. She's pretty sharp.
Oh, it got me good. My shoulder.
Yeah, it's pretty sharp.
Doesn't matter what I wear.
But you had a great. It's not all about me, bro. You had a pretty good bench session yesterday. After you chilled. you were running you had a foot on the gas yesterday.
I had a good bench. Shirted day. So it was the second shirted day since the meet after I've been back into this block, and I took a double PR on my 1 board and 2 board. I didn't even think I'd do that, but I did. So I took like 556 for double to 1, and then I upped it to 73 for the 2 board.
And that's pretty big because you haven't held 570s.
I haven't held over 560 since before.
Yeah, I know it'd been a hot minute. So we had a good week this week together.
Yeah,
and then we just have we have deadlifts. deadlifts on tomorrow, right? Wednesday, and then we're good. We're free.
That'd be like pretty much the end of
the Because I have convinced you to make the switch.
Yeah.
The compounds once a week, and we are BBs with these TTs all the rest of the time.
It's a pretty minimal block coming up.
I'm excited about it. And like you've seen me get stronger on it already.
Very bare bones.
And come back. But I enjoy the bodybuilding. Like I feel good.
Yeah. I
definitely feel like my cardiovascular has improved a lot with all the bodybuilding. Like I feel like my rest periods are shorter. Like, and it's fun to gun it on bodybuilding.
Yeah, it is fun. You get some good workouts.
Especially as like a partner. Like if you have someone training. I know we always talk about training partners, but we do every episode.
You think you put some size on in the past little bit running those blocks?
I was definitely surprised with my quads. Because those briefs were fitting me pretty tight, and we thought I had shrank, but
Yeah.
I need to bust out the sewing tape and get a real measurement.
I had to
and
take
see.
you out of your briefs that one day.
Yeah, that was bad. Yeah, we had to actually. That is a good unit of measurement because I had to put the jack back in the one leg and stretch it back out. So like, they were definitely a little tighter, a little snuggle me.
It was like 3 sets in. You said, no,
yeah, I was like, dude,
I gotta get
my
out.
toes are going numb, and not in like a fun, excited kind of way. Like, I'm doing weird things with the pick, and I can't feel the bottom of my feet. So
It's a good, good way to realize you put some size on.
yeah, all good things. But speaking of not good things, no, this episode will be good. Like I said, we're gonna try to keep this not lopsided. Lopsided is the wrong word. We're gonna try to compartmentalize this with my feelings about everything, and then like from a calmer, rational look at the bigger picture point of view.
Yes.
Right. So
both sides of the coin.
Yeah, we do want to look at both sides of the platform per se.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, per se. You like that? It's almost like I'm an English teacher.
Bro's got vocabulary.
Yeah. So this episode, they just released the qualifications for 2026 Nationals for PLU, which got us really thinking about, and I've talked to a lot of different directors throughout the area, and of course, ones I'm friends with, like Joey Shepard, Matt Blankenship, who owns Ritual in Chicago. Like, I've talked to a lot of friends, Micah Moreno out in Las Vegas. Like, all of us talk quite frequently, especially with the bigger issues about this, but like, all these people have been in the sport for a good amount of time. Mm-hmm. Micah even longer than me. But how things have changed over the years with qualifications, what things qualify something as qualified even. So, what does regionals look like? What does nationals look like? What do these big pop-up money meets look like versus, then you have your, of course, USAPL, Powerlifting America, and how you're running it more like a ladder bracket system where you have almost like a season, like a traditional sport, versus kind of like what grew out of untested, where it was like, it felt a lot more random.
Right. Definitely.
Like, you did a local meet for a warm-up or to qualify for something, and then when the money one picked up, you were like, oh, guess that's the one. That's the one we're doing. Someone would throw an Instagram ad on, and you're like, yep, that's where we're going.
Looks great.
Right. So let's talk about the untested versus tested and how it's changed. And of course, when I started powerlifting, and we've talked about this a little bit, YouTube was super big. Everybody was watching Mark Bell. Everyone was watching Dan Green. Everyone was watching Pete Rubish, freak out in his basement. Those are the big videos, things coming out of a West Side, things coming out of Elite. A lot of those videos, YouTube was your spot to go. You'd watch it to get hyped before you went and did your powerlifting, right? But a lot of that was untested, right? A lot of that was unspokenly untested.
Untested was the mainstream for a long time.
So untested in sleeves or untested raw with wraps, as you would say, was the biggest thing. Then that when I was raw, that's what I did. Both probably, had a lot to do with. That's how the sport was projected upon me, and when I saw those things, that's what I wanted to do.
I think that's a great thing to say because it doesn't matter who you are. It matters where you come up around the sport is what you get kind of funneled into.
100%. That has a lot of direct intake on how you view powerlifting and kind of how you shape your powerlifting goals and what you want to do. I could definitely agree with that, and of course, my own personal experience had definitely shaped me.
Yeah.
And of course, besides for you watching stuff, when you got more into not powerlifting as recreational as an actual sport for you, Carl, I'm sure I had a lot of influence on that as well.
Definitely.
So it's very fair to say, I pushed all my opinions on you. But I definitely feel like I had a part in shaping how you viewed powerlifting, for better or worse.
Yes, definitely.
For better or for worse.
You may have not pushed them, but you definitely let me know them.
Yeah, I don't know. Some would say I'm very quiet about my opinions, especially within the sport. But when we look at big meets of the past, right? So we're talking 2015. Maybe not 2015. I'm gonna think let me really target this. Probably 2016, 2017, 2018. We're looking at the Showdown, Boss of Bosses, the Kern, now that I'm really reflecting on it, even the first year of the American Pro was still huge for untested lifting.
And we say American. That's a very recent like meet that's very new in the sport.
I mean, well, so they just put up another advertisement for American Pro 4.
Yeah, so it's only 4 years old.
So
now.
yeah,
It's very
so
recent.
that gives you kind of hindsight because like a lot of these big changes were still in action around because American Pro, the original one would be like 2020, 2021.
That would be 21.
Yeah. So like that's kind of your area and we're situated in because I even think what was the other one after the Kern U.S. Open? They did like 1 year. I want to say it was the 8-man elite in
I was thinking
California,
8-man, yeah.
the one James did. So like even that was targeted right when the Kern was winding down and American Pro was starting up. So then you're kind of like channeling your viewpoint and kind of situating in the schedule of events within those couples of years, looking at like 2017 to 2021.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Because if we're looking at those, because how many years did the Kern go? 3 or 4?
I think it was 3.
Okay, so I mean that makes sense. A lot of these only did about 3 years.
Yeah, they had their little flare up and they kind of fizzled
Yeah,
off
or
after
something
that.
like a lot of the people who were the directors for that would move on to something else, and then like the new big money meet would pop.
They
up,
have their
right?
passion project and they'll throw a lot of money into
Right,
it. And then
right,
it kind of
right.
Goes on to the next person. I think that timeline also lines up with how untested with wraps compared to tested with sleeves. The shift in the culture, like, changed in raw lifting.
Well, I think there's a lot of sides to this, and part of this is when you analyze and look at the rise in popularity of tested meats, and then even as I typed in some of these notes and talked to you more about it, especially nowadays, more strictly by name and then fed. Like, so like kids, even when they do their first meet, we always try to make, we do untested meets here for first-time lifters. So that way, whether you're tested, untested, everyone can be included. Like, especially for your first-time meet, I always felt like that wasn't important, right? It was getting your feet wet, getting the flow of the meet. Like, your first meet's never going to be your best meet. So, like, it should be open for everyone of any caliber as their first meet to do. But even that being said, I think so many new lifters are hell-bent on it needs to see, say, DT drug tested in the name. It needs to be with a strict DT tested fed, right? Like that is, and of course, like when I say I was a product of the powerlifting I viewed and what came up in, you can't really blame those kids because that's their product of what's being
That's
raised
what
right
they're
now,
seeing.
right?
That's what
So
they're
when
all
they
around.
see younger lifters, rise to glory and fame, as I am using air quotes right now, via social media, like it's all USAPL, it's all
Right.
Powerlifting America, like those young guns decked out in all SBD, everything, like that's what those kids are seeing.
Yeah, and to be honest, a lot of like the drug tested numbers are crazy right now. Like
They are.
the numbers have skyrocketed in the drug tested raw scene. So it makes sense where the people would have a lot of traction behind that.
That would. And not to get sidetracked, but I do want to hit on that before I get
definitely.
totally lost. Right? So you're talking about like your rise in popularity and the skyrocketing of numbers. And I just was talking about this with you and Allie as I was getting a soda before I forget about this. I don't think, of course, kids are getting stronger. Kids are getting stronger, which is weird because I'm a teacher and I see lots of kids not get stronger. Like the weakest kids I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, kids that play high school football and like literally can't bench the bar.
Bro, you are malnourished.
Yeah.
Eat that
But,
school
like,
chicken patty sandwich.
Yeah, so like, and not to talk shit on that, but like that's a whole nother problem with work ethic in the education system and every shit right now. But we're not a political podcast, so we're gonna keep it a powerlifting.
Sure.
But when you look at, it feels like every time you flip on Instagram, right, or TikTok or whatever, you're seeing younger and younger kids, these kids at like high school nats, right? Like early juniors and their 19, 20-year-olds putting up insane numbers. And here you are, the old guy, like, what the fuck? Like this 17-year-old, 18-year-old is pulling 800 pounds raw dogging like out at some natty comp.
Or you see some sub-junior, like 180 pound dude squatting 600 pounds.
Right.
Like, well, that doesn't happen.
So
What are you
like
talking about?
it's so weird to compare that to, because like when I was first coming in powerlifting, you're always told to like be humble because there's some tiny 52 kg Asian chick snatch cleaning your
Yeah.
your deadlift
Yeah.
right now, right? So like humble yourself because there's some tiny little Asian woman throwing that shit above her head. So go sit down, right? But it hits more close to home now because it's like you're watching kids do your sport not far away from you at a
Yeah.
much younger age than you and absolutely throwing down. So the question is, are kids, is there a new normalcy for being that, not that strong, but more normalcy for an updated strength curve that we're not seeing? Or have these kids always been there? And because of the rise in popularity of powerlifting, now you're seeing more access to those kind of freak younger kid athletes, right? So what I was trying to explain earlier was you've always had these outliers, these kids who are like phenomenal, like at karate, phenomenal at football, or wrestling, right? And whereas they would normally just stick to that sport and exceed in that sport, because of the rise in popularity and expansion of powerlifting, now you're starting to see a lot more of those kids do this as their main sport or do this in their off season, right? So you're starting to see these kids more. I'm arguing that even when I was doing it, raw, there were these kids. You just didn't see them as much because it wasn't as popular. Right? So is the strength curve really going up, or is it just the view curve really going up?
I think there are just more. I think, personally, okay, so I heard Roman talk about this.
On their podcast?
Yes,
Okay.
at RPEFML. So he was talking about how the influx of kids coming into the sport was from like the COVID area, that area of time, back 2020, and like no one had anything going on, so like they're just, let's go to the gym now, let's start powerlifting in my garage, let's start weight training, see where this goes. And I think he was talking more so like the influx and how it's dying off now, how he thinks there's like a curve and like people are now in that 5-year range, or they had their few meets, they're like, okay, kind of done with the sport now, and they're gonna dive off. But it also opened up a really wide view of all these people coming into the sport, and you're just seeing more freaks. They were there, like you were saying, but there's just more of them in the sport now.
Right. Because they showcase their strength out of boredom because of COVID.
Right.
I mean, that's the best way to say it, I guess.
Large team sports weren't happening then, so powerlifting is a very individual thing to them in the raw scene. They can just do it in their garage.
Right, and that makes total sense because, I mean, that's how you and me got hooked up with Joe Gray and really started pushing Garage Gym because there was no competition. So, like, shit, we could at least submit some stuff online that was cool and possibly win a few pieces of equipment for the gym.
Definitely.
Right? Shout out to Joe Gray. Garage Gym's coming up in
10 weeks.
10 weeks. Shit's awesome. Love you, Joe Gray. Shout out, woo woo. I hope he hears this. I love that man. He's so nice to me. He's the one that sent me the Papa Bear. I love Papa Bear socks.
Yeah.
But really, how else can we explain the rise in popularity of tested? Like, when did untested, even it was unspoken untested, like people weren't as forward about PED use. Like, when did that really, truly all of a sudden matter? Do you think it's because of the age bracket?
Probably. I think a lot of younger lifters are just seeing I think they're seeing a lot of very strong drug-tested IPF, like USAPL people, and they're like, I want to do that. They're drug-free. Why can't I do it drug-free?
Correct. And again, we talk about the product of when you're coming into the sport.
The environment they're in. I think that's the main causation behind that.
I definitely agree with that. I think that could have a lot to do with it. And I mean, I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer. I'm just saying, like, I think these are cool conversations to have because everyone, of course, like, even as meet directors, like, we're even looking on the business side of it. Like, why has untested really taken this back seat? Mm-hmm. Why is all the money in, tested powerlifting now? And it's always cool to analyze these. I mean, it's not cool because we're losing money, but it's cool to analyze and have these conversations about, why that is. But I think it's led to a really big, like, gap in the community and divide in powerlifting because you could have really, really popular meets, and now based on the influx of new lifters, that care so much about tested in their first time events, even when you try to put on family friendly, new lifter friendly events, those directors suffer because it's not strictly only tested powerlifting.
Right.
Now, a lot of people would argue, hey, you combat that with sessions. You can do a day 1 and day 2. You could do a session 1, session 2, and have that split. And you've seen me do that multiple times.
Yeah, definitely.
I have done that multiple times. But even so,
I've even seen you divide it into flights.
yeah, I've done flights too.
I don't think that's a very common thing to do.
I mean, it's just for ease of the Excel spreadsheet when you're uploading to Open Powerlifting too, so you can be like make sure these are separated. You know, when you send the results.
That also just ties into like it's an easy way to hold both tested and
it is
untested meets.
But I mean, we went from hosting 13 meets a year, and now I'm hosting like 2 meets a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like we've greatly suffered here, and I've talked to many directors about like the decline of it. Like, you know, no one gives a shit about mono meets. No one gives a shit about any of that anymore, right? And now people are even offering all power bar meets, even though they're not a strictly tested fed.
Yeah.
Right? Just for power bar, because people are still, other directors, other feds are carefully examining the USAPL and feds close to them as to why are they dominating the sport? Why are they so much more popular? And for anyone who wants to argue that, we found, thank you, my boy Joey Shepard, a little cavalcade of information and data on a chart that clearly proves that. So, if we're looking at a chart, and I might be able to put this up on the YouTube, at least when we're talking, or post it in the stories when we're done the podcast, so if people want to see this. This is including about 30,000 powerlifters, 30K powerlifters, up until July of this year, right? So we still have half a year to go, right? So this is just including up to July with 17 different feds, and to count on this list, these 17 had at least 130 participants, right? So 30K athletes spread out between 17 feds. I'm not saying there's only 17 feds, there's more feds than that, but in order to count on this list, they had to have at least 130 participants in the events. Anything under 100 didn't count, right? So broken down into a full column row percentage chart, looking at participants versus how much of those participants out of the 30K is the percentage of that market. USAPL dominates with 44% of that 30K.
So they got almost half the
almost
list of active
half
participants.
It's half the year, and they almost have half the participants, right? So that's pretty fucking wild, right? So it's no wonder other feds are looking at this as a go-to example while they run that bracketed season system, right? Right under that is going to be, well, I would say right under it in the list, but nowhere near close in percentile, is still the USPA with 17% of that, right? Which is still pretty big. I mean, USPA for a very, very long time was the premier untested fed.
Let me talk about this real quick.
Sure.
USAPL,
right?
That's a predominantly raw drug-tested federation.
It's only drug tested.
Okay.
And yes, predominantly raw. They still do offer things like equipped nationals and stuff like that, yes.
So,
but still predominantly
that
raw.
right there with, what does that say, 12,000, almost 13,000 participants?
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody coming into the sport that has maybe 1 or 2 meets or no meets under their belt are going to see, hey, which federation is the most popular right now where I'd have the most competitive meet, where I have the best chance to compete with somebody at my age and weight class. They're going to see those numbers, and they're going to say, I'm going to do that one.
Right, and which also explains that large pull towards the tested division.
Yeah, I just think that really that pushes the envelope more on that side.
That very much coordinates with that. 100% agree with you, Carl. And I know some people are going to listen to it, and people are going to be like, well, duh. But a lot of people don't know these things and don't see these kinds of charts and things like that. So I feel like this is a good episode, too.
I hadn't seen that chart before.
Right,
So
like just to convey information to people, like these are possibilities of why things have changed. Because I'm sure there's other people besides myself that are a little more seasoned in the sport that are like, what the fuck happened? this is not the powerlifting I remember.
Yeah.
This is my powerlifting.
Old man yelling at kids on his lawn.
I know. Through the screen door.
Yeah. So what other feds we got on here? What are their numbers looking like?
So AMP with 11%. And then anything under this is less than 10%. So in fourth place, we have PLU with 7%. And then RPS, APF, and USPC all with 3% apiece. Very closely tied in numbers as far as actual participants, not just percentile. And then everything under that is 2% or less, which is SBF, 100% raw, MPL, IPA, UPA, APO, 365 strong, APU, APA, and XPC with barely making the list. Which is weird because I guess XPC only really has that big blow-up meet at the Arnold. You don't hear too much more about that as far as promotional-wise, you know what I mean? So again, playing to your, what you were saying, if you went at this list and you saw XPC and it's the only thing that pops up at the Arnold, well, you know what else is at the Arnold? USAPL. Right. So
and that's actually what me and Mike were just talking about on Sunday, where he's talking about the Arnold and the USAPL, where he's trying to do a meet over that way.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm also looking at the Arnold, but I'm looking at the XPC side.
Yeah, because we like monoliths and we like to wear uncomfortable suit typers, so that's where we're going. Well, I guess some people listening to this could also say, well, USAPL does offer it equipped. Why don't you and Travis just do USAPL equipment? Because we like to be in gear and we like to be on gear and are very open about it. So fuck you.
Yeah, wouldn't pass one of those.
Yeah, my pee-pee hot. So this chart's pretty wild, right? Pretty wild.
It is. It is very shocking. Like I said, I hadn't ever seen the layout, the full numbers stack, and it's pretty shocking to be honest.
Yeah. So I was still surprised. I was most surprised by probably the PLU numbers at 7%, and I was probably also equally as shocked at the USPC numbers at 3%, just because of PLU is still a relatively new Fed. I think, and this is where I need to separate my feelings because I'm not trying to talk down at people because, there are people in PLU that I love and respect and have been part of the game for a long time. But I also have my own feelings about how things are being run and choices being made and how damaging it has been to the sport where other people had crossed in the sport and directors followed in hopes of promoting a better Fed for the lifters and not being fulfilled in the way they wanted to. And then, of course, USPC with, the scandals and stuff even from years ago, I'm surprised that still had as much pull as it did.
Yeah, surprised as well.
But, even on, YouTube and stuff, I still see plenty of people doing USPC. So, it is what it is. And that's not trying to take shots at particular feds. All these motherfuckers got skeletons in the closet. And out of all the shit I've learned in powerlifting over my last 10 years, every one of these motherfuckers got something to hide. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. Do not fucking DM me. Do not fucking text me. Do not say some shit that you're like, oh, not my Fed. Fuck you. Every single Fed with these fucking high up, rich white dudes, every one of these motherfuckers has a skeleton in their closet. And don't tell me they don't. They're beating women, touching women, peeing on shit. I swear to fucking God, the text and proof I've seen on all these different fuckers, do not fucking lie to me. I know. I've fucking seen it. Okay? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Had to get that out.
Okay. In your opinion, what would be the best fix for the, I should say, influx of federations and the spreading of the communities?
So, sorry. Take a deep breath. I was like, get fucking heated. So looking at the bigger market, obviously, this chart does not apply directly to us because we are not USAPL. So if we're looking at, we're talking about strictly
East.
So we're looking at our East Coast community / tri-state area.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I think because you were involved with the USPA for a long time.
I was with the USPA for a very long time, USPA East, and then we had that split. I did not go with everybody to USPC. I took over for USPA East here, and then when there was a lot of fuck shit with that, I went to the WRPF and did that for a while, and then there was fuck shit with that, and then I went to PLU, and then there was fuck shit with that, and now I am not associated with any Fed. I allow my buddy Bobby Bolin, who runs NPL, he is hosting a meet here for our annual No Luck, and I am just coaching and being the host facility. I am no longer in a director role, positional role. I am removed from it because I
didn't need the headache.
I fucking love powerlifting, and I hate powerlifting. That's why.
Yeah.
Because for every one amazing person I meet, there is 10 fucking shitty ones to replace them.
So you see that percentage on the chart we just gave, and there's like a...
I didn't answer your question at all.
No.
I totally didn't answer your question.
I want to ask one more thing though before we move on deeper in that subject.
Well, I want to answer your question first.
Okay.
Wait, is the gaps in the community, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, we're talking about our community. So we're talking about our community. I think one of the biggest problem is it's oversaturation of market, and I've talked to you about this before, right? So when we were running a lot of different meets, was fine. We had some internal drama with some people I had brought in. There was a split and divide, even with our Fed in the state, of people wanting to run things their way and not coordinate times and things and meet schedules, which made meets cannibalize each other. So then we were hosting a bunch. This other team on the other side of Maryland was hosting a bunch, and nobody was communicating with each other. And every time we did try to communicate, what's a good way to put this? We did not see eye to eye or agree on some of the things that were being done to people. And then more feds moved in, right? So USPC started getting a little more traction down here in Exile. Mm-hmm. And then there are a couple other places in Maryland. They tried one in Delaware, and that one got canceled. And now even we have a new state chair for USAPL trying to move into Delaware.
Yep.
And they're hosting a Delaware meet that Mike told me about. So there's like probably 6 or 7 different feds in a tri-state area.
Yeah.
All not talking to one another, all trying to host meets. So of course they're going to fucking cannibalize each other, and meets are going to get competed out. And again, trying to separate my own feelings towards what we're talking about. But like, as someone who's consistently been here the longest, like I've been hosting meets for over 6
years.
Over 6 years now. I've been directing. I've been holding meets for over 6 years and reffing for longer than that. I felt very betrayed by a lot of my own team in the Divide. I felt very betrayed by a lot of our community members who consistently knew me and like knew how hard I worked to try to keep everything together and people together and teams together and officials together to make things work for the betterment of our sport in our area. And when people went with other people and people decided, you know, hey, I was going to do this other meet instead of doing one of your meets, like, again, like, I try not to hold personal grudges with it, especially with like lifters and stuff, but like when I saw that number shrink, it felt very personal. I felt very, like, I know it wasn't a personal attack on me, but I took it very personal. Because it was like I had worked very hard to make a community happen. I had taken over and taken roles when things had fallen apart because of scandals and other people, and I was trying my best to do a thing. And then I got stabbed in the back a lot, and other people tried to move in the area. And that's why I tell you and Matt to text me once every other week to say, here's your weekly reminder or bi-weekly reminder to not be fucking nice and to say no more often. Because every time I try to help somebody out, they fuck me over when they're done getting what they want. So that's part of the reason our local community gap has such a problem. It's because all you motherfuckers are greedy as fuck and don't do this for the right reasons, and on top of that, have a shit total to boost it. So
everybody wanted a piece of their own pie.
Everyone wanted a piece of the pie.
And the lifters got spread out, and now no one can fill up meets around here.
Right. So now because of that greed, it's affecting everyone.
No one
can sell out a meat anymore. No one can, you know. And then, of course, like with social media presence, it's all about the live stream. It's all about the big lights. It's all about the fucking smoke. So, like, now even your really, really well run local meets that offer a lot of cool stuff, and it's just never enough now. So, it's like we're in this loophole between like people not thinking local is good enough because they think they're too big for your britches. Like, do you really need fucking fog machines for your sub 300 pound bench? Like, get the fuck out of here. Sorry. But like, you know, people who think they're fucking big dick swinging and like haven't done anything in their sport, or it's their first or second meet, like, you don't need all that. What you need to do is get better and hone your craft at your sport. And because of the influx of like people like that and greed on the other side of the platform, it has truly like destroyed what we had locally here. And then, of course, like, as I try to amend it, it feels like mixed communication and like all that always just takes a back seat no matter what. Like, I recently had a talk with somebody who's running a meet very, very close to ours, like a week or two before or after, and I'm like, hey, like, we've ran the same meet for 6 years on the second week of December for 6 fucking years.
That you've helped out at.
Yeah, that you know and come to, and you're gonna host a full power like a week before or after. I'm like, why would you want that split? Why would you want to divide that good thing? Like, is it really worth it? Because I know you're not making a lot of money. And this is my big thing, like with other directors in the area, I know you're not fucking making money. I know you're not. I used to pack out meets all the fucking time, and the money ain't great. So I know it's not for the money. So, like, is the self-importance, do you really feel that good? Do you really feel that big? Is it that much of an ego boost to continually damage our area and fuck up relationships with other people who could be helping each other? Like, is it that worth it to you? And apparently the answer is fucking yes.
Because it's been more and more people that are doing that.
Yeah, it's more and more people. It never ceases to stop. It's just over and over and over again. Continuous loop of absolute fuckery.
So what do you?
I feel like I'm going to combust.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to explode right now.
So let me ask you this: what do you think would be the fix to that? Who should dictate the rules? Who should make the singular area powerlifting federation? Who holds the meat? What's
So here's the thing. Like, if we had positions of power, like there was a regional chair or someone who, the problem is because no matter if you have a regional chair for a fed, that's not going to mean that's a positive interaction with other feds within the area, right? Unless you had all the state chairs or all the regional chairs from all the different feds talk, which is literally like, I feel like that's an impossible task.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be asking the world.
Right. Because, I mean, if you can't even get those people in your own fed to communicate and make things right, how are you going to reach outside that and make it right?
You're not.
Yeah, you're not. So, and again, it always comes back to the age-old question of, will powerlifting ever be truly together, united under one circus tent?
Now, this isn't to say this is a new issue. This has been going on for decades.
Forever, yeah, since powerlifting started.
I mean,
same kind of dramas too. Same shit with scandals and all kinds of shit and skeleton in the closet have been part of every fed since powerlifting has ever started. It's everywhere.
Yeah, and it's not going to stop.
It's not. It's not. It's just, again, just like our younger lifters get broadcasted more.
It evolves.
Now social media can, hey, there's a new scandal, boom, and then blast that shit everywhere, right? People find out about it faster.
The earliest one I can think of is probably between the two federations when it was like a something. I don't know the federation letters, but it was between this one being like, oh, we want to lift, but we're lifting with these guys that are using, PEDs. Let's just break off to our own fully tested federation, and the guys over here adapted more into like, well, we're only going to be like non-tested, and then that was it. And then it just branched off on both ways even more. We had a break of 2 federations, then you got 4, then you have 8, and that you have this whole list of like, however many you got now.
Yeah.
Because people think that well, I'm doing it this way because I think it's the right way, and this person says you're not doing it right. Let me do it the right way, and then that just breaks off even more.
Yeah. Let's look at some qualifiers.
Yeah, let's break into the numbers. Let's look at the kilo charts and see what kind of national meets are happening nowadays.
So just for reference reasons and to make this easier for listeners, I think you and me should use our own weight class.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give an accurate depiction of like
Sure.
how we could even kind of look at our own numbers and say stuff like that.
Yep.
Right. So PLU's Open Powerlifting just came out. Of course, it's been on some slides. You can look this up. It's also on their Instagram. So the new one, me and Carl are 220 Husky boys.
Yep.
So the qualifying total for the drug-tested men is at 100 kg, which is 220, is 490 kg. 490 kg.
Yep.
Look, I don't even have the fucking right thing. How much is that?
490. That's about 1050. I
Is
want
it?
to say
Is
it's
it?
about
Here, I'm gonna look it up.
because
before we
500
sound
would
dumb.
be 1102. So
Yeah, it's 1080.
1080. There you go.
1080. All right, so we're 1080. So someone, me and Carl's size, untested, is tested is barely, not even at 1,100 pounds.
They're not even breaking 1100.
So you could have just hit above your first 1K total, your 1,000-pound club.
That's like a 4 squat, a 2 bench, and a 4 deadlift
Yeah.
at a national meet. Explain that.
Yeah, it's
These are numbers you see like
at a local level. At a local level.
If with good training and within your first like 6 to 10 months of training.
Yeah. And I mean, like, okay, so there's been a lot of talk about, and again, I'm not trying to shoot at certain feds or anything like that. I'm just trying to be real about it and talk about it. And there's tons of different ways this conversation has been had, and tons of different ways meet directors have explained it. But, so I decided to come back through some other qualifications charts of when I was still doing raw and sleeves and see like where I was at that certain point in my life and like how kind of that looks compared to what this is now, right? So if we scroll back, so the one we're talking about right now, and just for reference, the 110 or the 100 kg for untested, 100 kg, because I mean I feel we should be real about it. What is
it,
that?
570?
570. 1,257. So not even 1,300. 1,257 for untested. So if we scroll down, I found a USPA chart from 2013, 2014, and I know this stayed pretty strict. It would change maybe 10, 20 pounds, but this is pretty close, right? Now, listen to these, dude. Okay, so I think when we started doing it, a class 2 would qualify you for nationals. I think they even went to a class 3 in 2019.
Okay.
This is 1041.
So in you said what? What year was that went to class 3?
This is 2013, 2014.
Okay, so 2013, 2014, a class 3 would qualify you for a national?
Yeah, class 3 or class 2. 2 is just under 1,200, so it's 1,191. But again, like it's weird to see it like this because I feel like this looks more on par with today's strength because what are we talking about for 220? What did we say? Just under 13?
For the untested, yes.
Yeah, just under 13, right? So, like, that one would be higher for us, technically.
Right.
Right. So, I remember I was always shooting for, so, if we did 220, the class 2 is 1191. The class 1 is 1355. The master is 1508. The elite is 1642, and the international elite is 1790. So if you're an international elite qualified lifter, it would put you just shy of 1,800 pounds at 220 raw. And that's raw with sleeves.
Now, these national level meets, what was the competitiveness like at these? Like, was everybody hitting around the same numbers, or was it like a very far spread out? Like,
So it was
your
really
top
tight.
guys, and then like everybody else.
I remember 2019 Nationals. I was 198. So my 198 total was already going into nationals in an international elite level, right? So I was above 1,700 pounds raw
Okay.
at 198. Because I remember me and Jawan Garrison battling it out for dots day one, and then Zach Myers won day two with his dots over top of me and Jawan. Because I think I squeaked by Jawan by like, dude, it was like 0.02. Like it was super tough. And that's when me and Jawan first met and became very friendly. Like we fucked.
Breaking up the calculators.
Right. We joked around all day. Very nice guy. But like, it was all really tight dots wise for like the best lifters, but weight class wise, I think the dude closest behind me was still like 250 pounds shy of my total.
Yeah.
So like even then, I think you started to see, because I want to say that was, like I said, I think that was the first year they lowered it to a class 3 or a class 2. They dropped it 1 as far as the qualifications. So that was the year you first really started to see that gap.
So in your weight class, you were like, well, these guys aren't even anywhere close. Now, granted to say, you were at the international elite level.
Right.
So you are in the 1% of that competitive pool.
Correct.
But like even so, at that high of a meet in the federation that was very popular in that year. Like, yeah, we said USPA had like a lower percent than the USAPL and whatever federation was above that. Even so, the USPA had a much larger pool then, I would believe. Wouldn't you say so?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, USPA was pulling way more lifters back then.
So
sure.
it would have had comparable numbers to what like you see the USAPL.
I think so. Yeah, 100%. Because my first powerlifting tattoo was 1665 on my hand.
Okay.
And that was when I first reached my first international elite total at 181.
Right.
So 181 here is 1611.
So as soon as
mine was 1665.
As soon as you were in those national level meets, and yes, you were putting up giant numbers that were like international elite, there was a very large gap in what they were letting into a national level.
Yeah, there still was, for sure. So, like, I think herein lies the problem. It's like, how can you... I don't have an answer for this, and this isn't to start arguments. This is literally to open conversations, to have these important conversations within the community and between meet directors and talk about this. Like, how do you call something nationals or regionals if the dots and the qualifications are what people are normally hitting at a local meet? Like, what's national about that? You paid extra money and flew somewhere?
Yeah, you get a goodie bag that says like your name on
it. Yeah, you change the medal. Like, what is nationals? What should be nationals? Like, when I think of nationals in any other sport, it's the best coming together to compete.
Right.
This is a cash grab. This is everyone coming in because you might have done your first meet and been like, I qualified for nationals. You go to nationals, you pay your ticket, you get some sweet photographer to do some shots, and you got fancy pictures of you going to nationals to post on Instagram. But like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just jaded because I've been in it a while, but like, that's not like a nationals experience to me. Like, if you go to nationals, you want to go to compete. You want to go to try to podium.
Yeah. So it's really difficult to compare powerlifting to like mainstream sports because powerlifting is not a mainstream sport.
No, and it never will be.
You'll see like, okay, just the big leagues of other sports like the NFL, the NBA, the hockey leagues, like everything like that. They have their season that goes down to like a playoff sort of thing, and then they have their big game. You know, the World Series, the Super Bowl, that sort of thing, where you have the best of the best play those teams. In powerlifting, there's no like system that can funnel everybody into one big meet because you have your federations that try to funnel, and then you have pop-up meets with big cash that say, hey, we'll pay you X amount to come compete here, but you really can't do multiple meets at that high level because you're just putting your body through it at that point. And you can't run like a meet where they're going to pay you X amount and then also train for this big national level meet.
Yeah. Now, when I looked at a couple other charts and I put on here, I actually think the RPS one is much more on par, surprisingly, than with what I think. Because when they list pro and master, 220 for this is equipped, but this one's the raw one. 220 pro is 1550.
That's respectable.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you're 220, but you're breaking 1,500 pounds.
And that's recent?
Yeah, I pulled this one right off the website today. So
Nice.
this is the one, like, I don't know if they updated, but this is the one I've always seen.
Okay.
So, like, when I look at that, I was like, okay, like, I mean, that makes a lot more sense to me anyway. But, I mean, if you did 1550 at 220, so this is always the other test I like to do. So if you do...
I'd say probably like a low force dots, maybe a 420.
That's what I'm
440.
curious about, right? So if you do, let's
Now
see.
these aren't totals that qualify you for anything, right? These are just their rankings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Do you have to have one of those to go to XPC? I think you do.
Do you really?
Well, XPC is the world version of RPS.
Okay.
So yeah, I would think so.
Still waiting on the requirements for the Arnold to come out this year.
Yeah. That is true. 433 dots.
Oh, I was right on the money.
Yeah.
420 to 440.
Yeah. 433 dots. Good job, Carl.
Thanks.
Right, so that's 1550 at 220 is around a 430-ish dots, right? So, I mean, I think that's much more respectable as a way of entry.
Yeah.
So, like, here's the thing, though, and I've talked to Joey Shepard about this, and I asked Joey if I could say stuff about him on here, such as he is a terrible person. That's not true. I adore Joey, and I really appreciate his insight. I always have great conversations with him about powerlifting, about both sides of everything. And one of the things we always talk about is, like, how can the sport be fixed? What could we do differently? Like, and he's so full of great ideas. And he also does 2 different feds like I've done. Like,
Yeah.
he's hosted both PLU and WRPF, you know, when the time was right.
While it was still there.
When those were 2 not interchangeable. And then USAPL.
Right.
Right, because he referees for them as well. So him and Aaron's gym, like, one of the things we've talked about is, like, how can, if we up the requirements, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nationals has the same issue as our local meets now, right? They don't sell out.
Right.
You want your nationals to be full, obviously.
Thus
right?
explains why they're lowering
Right.
standards.
Which in track causes a domino effect. You lower your standards of entry for nationals and regionals, it pulls away from your local events needed to qualify. So if you don't want nationals to suffer, you lower the requirements. But when you lower the requirements, now your local meets suffer, right? So it's like this weird spot of push and pull of affecting one or the other.
So that's not even like a individual's problem. That's a problem within the system. Because if the system's not filling up because of X amount of people are in the sport for that area, they're not going to sign up for it. And so the people that are running the feds are like, well, if you're not filling up here, let's lower the standards so we can fill it up. It's just going to eat itself.
Right, but then that's my whole argument is then nationals isn't nationals.
Yeah, but...
Because my thing is, I think, what defines nationals?
Well, you want a high tier, you want to see the best people.
Right.
Obviously.
But when you lower it, you don't have the best
You
people.
don't.
You have a group of local people that just flew out.
So, okay, a fix for that would be, so what if it doesn't sell out? You want to have a national meet, have whoever is the best sign up, and that be it.
Well, it's because they need to create demand.
Right. There is no demand.
There's no demand. It's too saturated. There's too many meets everywhere.
How many national meets do you think are held per year?
Fuck if I know, dude. A lot. And the idea of regionals before nationals, like, cool, it's a great idea. But, like, if you've lowered regionals in an attempt to make, like, a ladder style things, but, like, the dots isn't different from regionals to nationals. You're getting the same groups of people.
It's the same people, yeah.
Yeah. And so what about if those people are like, well, every year I'm not going to do local meets. I'm just going to wait till I do regionals and I'm going to do nationals. Those are my 2 meets per year. Then you never, ever get that pool of people in a local meet.
I even saw people commenting on the PLU post about their new qualifications saying, do my numbers from last year's, or now still this year's, my nationals qualify me for the next year's? So they're not even doing another regionals.
Right.
They're going to
So
do a
you go
national, and they're going to train for another national the next year.
Right. So zero, like we've been saying, zero incentive to do a local meet.
Yeah, there's going to be nothing in between, no movement in the local
Absolutely
scene whatsoever.
trashes your local community of powerlifting.
Wipes it clean.
Wipes it clean. Yeah, there's no incentive. So, like, if you don't have to earn anything to go to nationals because nationals needs to fill up, what's the point of a local meet?
Yeah, it doesn't seem.
And
like
people don't believe in experience anymore. They're like, fuck it, I just want to go.
I even saw. Okay, I also this was on the post. People commenting saying like this federation's national level meet is a great way for entry lifters to get like experience on a bigger platform. When that shouldn't be the case. Like that's the wrong. In my view, that's the wrong thing to say because you're not getting experience on a large platform. You should have the experience to go to that platform and earn the right to be on the larger stage.
Yeah, 100%. Like,
there's
again, you're traveling to a larger stage without the air quotes larger stage appeal because larger stage should mean more competition.
Yeah,
tighter competition.
There's no competition.
Yeah. So then, like me and Joey have talked about it. He's like, well, a lot of people say, well, like everyone's like, well, there's no competition, so I won't go do nationals. And then those same people are like, not the best at their local.
Yeah.
So then it's like, then you got that weird push pull that way too, where it's like people don't want to go to nationals because they won't win. I don't know, dude. It's so weird. It's such a strange place we're in right now.
It's very odd. There's a lot that goes into it. People like have their obviously people have their own reasons for not wanting to do something or wanting to do it. Like it's just it's eating away at itself.
And then the last chart I looked at was a USPF one from 2016, and the 220s, it's about on par. Class 3, Class 2 was between 1157 and 1323. So,
okay, so that's higher.
Well, not if you're looking at the Class 3. If Class 3, look, if you look at it, the Class 3 almost matches the tested total we were just talking about from PLU, right?
Is that tested or untested?
I don't know.
Okay.
And then the 13 matches the untested, right? So those are pretty on par with the PLU one. And this is from 2016.
Well, the PLU one, the numbers are, the Class 3 is 100 pounds over the qualifier for a national meet on a Class 3. So if you were Class 3, if you had a 1050 or a 1080 total, and you, in that year, 2016, for the Federation, you would not qualify for Nats. The numbers were higher then.
Yeah.
By 100 pounds.
Right. So, I mean, it does, for the most part, follow the trend of we're continually lowering qualifications.
It seems like there was like a little bump in the curve, and it's been a downfall since.
I think that was like we said, the rise in the COVID, right? You saw when we first got fresh out of COVID, you saw this rise of all these strong-ass people that came out of their garage.
Yeah.
So then those first meets back, those numbers are kind of skewed because you're like, where the fuck did all these strong people come from? Came from their garage. So, I mean, I think that explains a little bit of it. Like you're all of a sudden seeing a new population and growth in the sport that you weren't accustomed to seeing because of COVID.
Yeah, and I'd like to see if those people actually stay in the sport after this long, because it has been 5 years.
Yeah.
And
no more flash in a pan.
People don't stay in the sport forever. Some people do. Some people stay in for a long time if they love it, but a lot of people will do 3 meets or whatever, how many years, and then say, okay, I'm done. This has been fun, but I'm going to move on to something different now. So that rise is likely to die off.
I should have done that.
Done what?
3 meets and then decided I wasn't going to do this anymore.
You're a little bit further past that now. You might want to just stay in for good.
Yeah. What meet is...
You've already
31?
Yeah, it'd be 31.
Fuck.
I remember I called. I was like, "This is your 30th, isn't it?" And we looked at your open powerlifting and counted.
Oh yeah, we did. We did count the last meet I did. Oh shit. Man, I feel like It's weird. I think this is such a hard thing to talk about because I feel like we've said a lot and not said anything at all.
No, there's
at the
no
same time.
real good answer for it.
I know. It's just such a hard topic. But, like, the main point of this podcast was, like, to get these conversations started. Like, I think all in all, when you reflect on the whole thing, it's like you can't fix the sport or attempt to amend things or make things better if you don't openly talk about them. And openly talking about them is way different than, like, posting rude comments on, like, qualification posts.
Yeah, like that's not gonna do anything.
Yeah. Like, what do you want me to do? Go in there and be like, I remember when these were higher in 2015, you guys suck.
Okay.
Right. Like, I mean, that's not making it better.
No.
Like, we have to think of, like, how to streamline this and put it in a system where you are going to reap the rewards for having a higher competition. People are going to want to train harder to make those things happen. It is going to give more incentives to have local areas of entry to earn those spots on those bigger platforms and stages. And I think that's like the biggest thing the sport is missing right now is the want to have experience and get better instead of now. And I think that's like our biggest downfall in the sport right now. And I don't have a right answer on how to fix that.
I don't think a singular person would be able to put up the correct answer. Like, it would have to be people working together for it, and that just does not happen,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
It doesn't. And I mean, like, out of a lot of people, I think I know what patience is in the sport. You know, like,
Yeah.
I know how long it takes to, like, recover from something and try to start this all over again for the however many fucking times I've done it. But it's like, I never had that, at least not with, maybe my first year or two. But, like, I never had that now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I knew great things take time.
And a younger lifter going into the sport right now is going to see, like, the flash, like the spectacle of the platforming in these regional and national level meets that they're able to go to, and they're going to say, wow, this is sick, this is so cool. But they're not seeing the real damage that it's doing because they're just distracted by the cool views and the live
it
streaming.
loops them in the sport without knowing anything about the sport and its consequences.
Yeah, the curtain's going to drop eventually, and you're going to see what's behind it, and it's going to really throw you off and give you another perspective on what it is.
Yeah. Damn. It's sad.
I don't want to end on a bad note.
We are out of time.
I don't want to end on a bad note.
We gotta end on a bad note. We'll make the next one happier.
God, that sucks.
Yeah. Closing remarks. We are sad. Going home.
This whole podcast was just to make us sad.
It was. It's not. I still love powerlifting.
No, yeah.
We're still deadlifting tomorrow. It's all good.
Oh, don't remind me.
All right. With love and grumpy paws, we're out of here for episode 9.
Yeah. Shoot us a nasty DM if you want to talk about, what our opinions on the sport.
Actually, please fucking don't do that.
Do it to me. I'll just tell him when I come to the gym.